Hi everybody. I'm just going to show you this animation really quick. This is an unannounced live and I want to do a super duper basic illustration or animation. Oh, there's people here. Now if only my iPad would next to me would do what it's supposed to do so I can see comments. You guys want to learn how to do the snowflakes? I just did it really quick over in the Facebook group too. Had a couple errors, so I guess that was my practice run. All right, casual lives. That's what I should call these. Casual lives, kids in the background, dogs snorting and coughing and barking sometimes. But welcome. So if you've never animated in Procreate before, this might be a good way to just get started. If you know a lot about animation, this is going to completely bore you. So just fair warning. All right, so go pick a fun drawing that you've done. Just doesn't matter what it is. I'm going to go ahead and pick this one again. So I just open it. If you already have a JPEG, just grab the JPEG. I'm just going to 3-finger swipe down, copy all, and then start a pretty small canvas, like, you know, small, 5 or 6 inches. So I did 6 inches at 300 DPI. And then I'm just going to paste it right in. So I have my one image there. That's it. Now you're not messing with your original. Yes, Jennifer in real life. Reminds me of a reality show. Go to the wrench tool and turn on Animation Assist. So once you do that, this is going to show frames for every layer that you have up here. It looks like it automatically popped up a new layer. And so you can have a lot of frames. It's getting faded because there's onion skin, and we're not going to go into, this is not a full lesson on animation, just a basic snow lesson. So we're going to go back to your image should be at the bottom, and we're going to tap on it down here and tap background. And anything you have on your background is going to just not do anything. It's going to just literally be the background of your entire animation the whole time. So all the things you have going on in frames, this won't do anything at all. So we're just going to add snow on top. My animation that I showed earlier also had lights doing things subtly, so I can show you that if you want to, but let's just start with snow. If you have a favorite snow brush, go ahead and use it. If you did my snowman ornament lesson a week or so ago, then this brush set has my Starry Night brush and then this snowflake brush that we'll use today. Otherwise, go ahead and just grab other spotty brushes. All right. So for all of these frames up here, it's just showing one layer for one frame, one layer for one frame. But when you group frames together, a group counts as one frame also. So that's really awesome. So for now, let's just, we don't have a group going, let's just go ahead and put some snowflakes on the canvas. So I'm just snow, snow, snow. You can change the size and the opacity. Just get your snow. Super basic. This is just a practice. I feel like I'm about to have a little hiccup. All right. Now we're going to go to a new layer and we're going to switch to that big snowflake brush. You don't have to do this part if you don't have a snowflake brush handy. I'm just going to do some random fun snowflakes. This does make it a little bit more than a beginner lesson, but let's do it. You can do it. And how about one right there? Did you see I added some stuff in the background? Okay, now we're going to group those two layers together. So now that is one frame. It's just this very first frame right there. We're going to duplicate that whole group and turn the lower one off. I like turning them off because it's so busy with the snow that it just gets to be too crazy. I'm going to open that group and I'm going to move. We can move them a little bit differently from each other. I goofed in the Facebook group, and I ended up making the big snowflakes just look like they were kind of going like this. So I'm not going to do that again. Okay, and then if you remind me at the end, I will come back and show you how to do the glowy lights. But I don't want it to be too complicated right now at the very beginning. So I'm on the little dot snow, and I have selected it, and I have magnetics on, and I'm just going to slide it down. The amount that you slide it is going to be kind of how much it jumps in the frames. So don't do huge slides, 1/4 inch to 1/2 inch. And then we're going to also, because we slid it down, we need to sort of fill in more snow up there. So I'm going to go back to my Starry Night brush, and even though I can't see it up there, I'm just going to add some more snow up there. I can't see it because of my snow on the background there. Now I'm going to go to my big snowflake layer and slide that down too, and then fill in with the big snowflake brush as if some more snowflakes up here that I can't see are coming down. Something like that. All right, then we're going to duplicate that group. Turn the lower one off and do the same thing. So I'm going to do this about 6 times. So I'm going to go to my small dot snow and move it down a little bit. Where was it? Yeah, too much. And my snowflake. Oops, I didn't fill in those dots. And I can have these moving in different ways. And now I need to fill in if I want. Fill in. And duplicate. Turn the lower one off. Grab one, lower it, fill in. I know you can't see me fill what it's doing. Grab the next one, lower it, maybe make it go a little to the side, because you know how some snow kind of gets pushed around differently. Fill in. I guess some people have never seen snow, so they wouldn't know that. Duplicate, turn the lower one off, select one, lower it, fill in, select the next one, lower it, my 13-year-old's forgetting to be a little on the quiet side. I don't know if you can hear him. All right, duplicate. I don't know how many times we've done this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Now we're doing a 7. Oh, these are just blank layers up here. We can't leave any blank layers. Turn the lower one off. Lower it. I'm not going to worry about filling in on this one. We're going to test it. So we need to have blank layers deleted. And now we have to turn on all of our groups and test our animation. So to test it, we want to go to settings, and we want it to stay on loop, because that's going to just keep going and starting at the beginning and starting at the beginning and starting at the beginning. Ping pong will go forward to backward to forward to backward. And then one shot just goes through and it stops. Then we want it to be a lower frame rate, probably around 7, and then we can tap play. Oh my gosh, it's really good. I think that's the best one yet. Don't stare at it too long or you'll see the repeating. I see one where I jumped with the big snowflakes. It jumps over this way. I remember moving it over that way, thinking I was being clever, but now I regret it. But it's good. It's good. All right. So then you can, while it's playing, you can play around with frame rate. That's 13. Looks pretty good too. So that's done. I'm going to show you how I export, which isn't really exporting at all. But I also want to show you how I can make the glowing lights a little different. And just to save on time, I'm just going to show you the lights along the roof line here. So to do that, remembering that in each group, it's one frame. So let's turn all of these groups off except the bottom one. So I can add another layer in the group itself. I do want that to be on the bottom because I want the glow, well, I'm not going to worry about it, but if I wanted to make sure the glow is under the snow, I would of course want that to be on the bottom. But watch what happens if I drag this to the bottom. It actually drags it out of the group. So one thing you can do is drag the lowest one up so that this one automatically becomes the lower one in the group. Or if you have a group that's collapsed and you want to drag a layer into the group, it automatically goes to the bottom. So now I have two empty layers down there. I'm just going to delete one. That was just to show you. All right, so I'm going to have this lower one in the group. So I have my two snow. I know you probably can't see what's on any of these. These are my two snow layers, and then this one's blank. And so this one, I'm going to do the lights. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I have 6 groups. So if I want the lights to go kind of on and off, kind of slowly, not on and off, but kind of flickering brighter and dimmer slowly, I want to have maybe 2 or 3 groups the same, and then the next 2 or 3 groups different. So let's just do 3 since it's in 6 groups. If I had 8 groups, I would probably go 2, 2, 2, 2. So I could go on, off, on, off. But because I have 6, if I did 2, if I did on, off, on, it would come back down and still be on down here. So if you had 4 groups, 4 frames, you could do 2 and 2 because it'd be on, off, on, off, on, off, on, off. I hope that makes sense. I'm going to pick a bright yellow, and then let's do milky chalky larapuna or soft larapuna. It depends on the look you want. If you want it to be kind of textured, then you can do that. Earlier, I wasn't having any luck doing blend modes in these groups. It wasn't looking bright, so I think it wasn't really identifying that it had an image under it. So it used to, so I don't know what's going on there, but I'm not going to worry about blend modes. Instead, I'm going to pick a bright color, and my lights already have a little bit of yellow around them, so I'm just going to sort of brighten them very subtly. Oops, this brush is a little touchy depending on how much you press on it. All right, and I'm just going to duplicate that and drag one into the next 2 groups. Because I want it on the bottom layer, I'm going to close these groups. So I can drag one into this group, and it'll be on the bottom layer in that group also. Duplicate it again and drag one into the next group, and it'll be on the bottom layer in that group. So you can see that here. Snow, snow, lights. All right, hopefully that was not too complicated. So we have 3 that are the one illustration that we did, so they're going to stay the same for 3 frames is what we essentially just did. And now I need to add another layer in one of these groups, make it a bottom layer, I can turn the group on. So I'm going to drag the bottom layer above it so it stays in my group instead of dragging it down. And I'm going to do the same exact thing, and even though I'm doing the same exact thing, because I'm doing it by hand, it's going to look different no matter what. it's not going to look like a duplicate, even though I am drawing it the same exact way as the other ones that we just did. It is going to end up looking a little different, and so that's going to be what gives it that blinkiness. All right, so I need one in these two groups now. I have to collapse them to drag into them. At least I used to. I haven't tested it. So I'm going to duplicate and drag one into that group. And duplicate that again and drag it into, come on, that group. And then I can turn all my groups on and test it. Can you see if I zoom in? This one's more obvious. This one's a little obvious. So they're staying one thing for 3 frames, and then they're switching to a different thing for 3 frames. But maybe I was a little too subtle with those. But the idea there is to show you that you can do things, you don't have to have everything changing every single time in every frame. So if you remember an animation I shared not that long ago with an elf on the mantle, there's 4 frames, 4 groups, so 4 frames, and in each one there's different things happening. So the elf's eyes are open for 3 frames and closed for 1 frame, and the lights are doing 2 frames, 2 frames, 2 frames, 2 frames, and so on. All right, once you have your animation how you want it, so I forgot that this is something you have to add to your iPad, and my teenager had to show me how, so I can't tell you how because I don't know. On this iPad, I can swipe down from my top right corner. You need to get to your screen recording. This can be added to this control center, or whatever this is called. So I can tap and start doing a screen recording now. And just let it record for a little bit. I believe some social media requires a few seconds as a minimum. So record it however long you want. 15 seconds, 30 seconds. For me, I can still swipe down from here to stop the recording. And now that recording is saved in my camera roll. Now that recorded the entire screen. And I don't want the entire screen, so I can edit. And then down here, I can drag that. You have to make sure it's yellow. It's cropping your video. So I can drag at the front and the start to get rid of that. On that end, get rid of it on this end. And then I can tap this crop option, tap this little, whatever that icon is, showing the different shapes. And then down here, I know you have to go all over the place. And then down here, square. For me, my canvas is square. And so I'm just gonna crop this down. And make sure it's fitting really well inside that square. Oh, it's not letting me go bigger again. All right, I think it's working. I think I got a little at the bottom here. Anyways, you can spend some time making it super perfect. And then tap done, save video, and it's saved to just your video. And now it's able to be shared on Instagram and Facebook because it's not a animated GIF. So when you export out of Procreate, and then mine's 21 seconds long, when you export an animation from Procreate, so share, you have these options down here. Even the MP4 doesn't really work because I believe it only does when it saves it to your camera roll. I think it's only doing one very short. Well, let's try it. So we can change the frames per second from here as well. And I'm going to export and save video and go to my camera roll. It's 1 second. So it's almost like it just saved one shot or whatever it was called. And so I think certain things will just keep repeating your video automatically, but this isn't going to be long enough. There's I can't remember if it's Instagram or Facebook that requires at least 3 seconds or something like that. So that doesn't really work. And GIFs can't be posted. They can be posted in the comments on Facebook, I believe. And they can, I don't know about like stories and stuff like that on Instagram, but you have to not have a GIF. It's so weird because social media is all about GIFs, but then they don't let you post them. So this screen recorded video you can record. I mean, you can post. All right, and I don't see any questions. Does anyone have any questions? That was a record time live.